So the House is meeting with President Trump this afternoon down at the Doral Golf Club, Miami, Florida. Question is, will there be one big, beautiful bill? And who's going to stop it? So let's talk a little bit about that. Some sheer raw politics. Rich Lowry, editor-in-chief of the National Review, Jason Chaffetz, former Utah congressman and Fox News contributor. So, Jason, okay, you know the House backwards and forwards. You know all these guys. The Freedom Caucus, many of them, don't really care about the tax cuts. They want, tough spending cuts, okay? Many others in the middle of the House Republican Conference, they love to cut taxes, but they're not that keen on cutting spending. And we don't seem to have yet what on Wall Street is sometimes called a matched book. And I just wonder, this conference may or may not solve any of that stuff. And President Trump, I think, is going to have to take big leadership position here.
The one thing that is out there that is true across all of them is that they are fearful of Donald Trump. You don't want to be on the wrong side of Donald Trump. He's going to be the one to have to pull this together. When I was there in Congress not too long ago, you had less than half the group of the House Republicans that were fiscal conservatives. Mm-hmm. You have a group that doesn't want to cut spending. You have a group that does want to cut spending. You have a group that doesn't care about tax policy. And then you have the SALT group, the ones that are coming from the Northeast that want to increase the threshold on the state and local taxes. So it is by far. And then you've got a couple, people out there, the libertarians like the Massies. You don't know where they're coming from or what they want to do. And so you've only got one or two votes to give. I'm
not going there. That one's way.
But that's a problem, right? Because you got to get 100%.
It's a problem. It could be a psychological problem. It could be an emotional problem. Undoubtedly, it's going to be a political problem, Rich Lowry. Now, put yourself in the president's shoes. What should he tell this conference? I believe it's at 5 o'clock this afternoon. I could be wrong, but more or less. What should he do? He's got to make a call here, doesn't he? At some point, he's got to make a call.
Yeah, well, one, I thought you've been right all along about one big, beautiful bill. Right. It's going to be hard enough to do it once. Doing it twice is going to be difficult. And no matter what's solved, quote unquote, tonight, it'll be unsolved at some point, and you'll reiterate that process on and on. And by the way, usually the way this works is a president has some bipartisan bill to kind of keep things going while the reconciliation bill is getting worked on. That's George W. Bush, horrible bill, but the No Child Left Behind bill. Right. So you're doing something. Nothing much is going to happen until they do this reconciliation bill. So you can have a lot of board reporters just focusing in on this member saying this and this is over here. And I guarantee you it's going to end very likely in success, but the success will be 2 a.m. in the morning, President Trump on the phone getting passed around to various congressmen to wrangle the last vote or two.
Well, they got to get it done. I mean, they have got to get it done. They need the border money. I'm fine with that. Drill, baby, drill. If they want to codify the regulations on drill, baby, drill and liquid gold, I'm okay with that, too. But the essence of it, it's going to be a reconciliation bill. Right, Mr. Congressman? So that means your tax cuts and your spending cuts. Your tax cuts and your spending cuts. And I'll tell you what else. This idea of a current policy baseline, which is what Obama used, that means if you have a popular permanent tax cut, you do not have to rescore it every year, just like you don't have to rescore all the Democratic spending stuff every year. I mean, that's what Senator Crapo has raised, and a lot of people are onto that. I think that's what they should do.
The scoring is going to be an issue. That's why you bump into the debt ceiling issue. That's why we're having to revisit the tax cuts again, because they can only do it out for, I think it was 7 years as opposed to 10, because how just wrong the CBO is in how they score these types of things. They don't look at the dynamic scoring that happens by you lower taxes, revenues to the Treasury go up, and they don't recognize that. And there are a lot of people in the Republican conference that don't understand that.
Speaking of revenues, Rich Lowry, I must say I have newfound respect when I just learned over the weekend that IRS agents pack guns. I thought they were all a bunch of thick-glassed accountants. Now that I know they're packing, then I think Trump is completely right. Send them to the border. All 88,000 of them. I have new respect for these guys.
If we tax people coming in, they'll turn right back. The marginal rate's high enough. They're not coming in, Larry.
I mean, why not? They're packing guns. Send them to the border. Let them do the Lord's work instead of running after waitresses and waiters and Uber drivers, which is what they do now.
I would underline a point Jason made just a minute ago. Everyone's afraid of Trump, right?
Yes.
So we know in international theory that we hear a lot about deterrence. There's another concept called compellence, which is you make someone so afraid of what you're going to do to them, they do what you want rather than not doing the thing you don't want to do. So we saw this in Colombia. We're going to see it around the world, I think, and it's also at play here domestically.
Yeah, well, he made him pound sand in Colombia. Say, I'm going to shut down your economy. I really like that a lot.
Yeah.
Can I talk about the IRS agents for a second? Because I think this is actually
gun packing IRS.
Yeah, the gun packing. If you're a Border Patrol agent, you don't want them to have your six. I mean, you don't want them behind you. But here's what they do. They have taken literally thousands of Border Patrol agents and have them over here doing paperwork.
Right.
IRS agents are probably pretty good at doing paperwork. Let them do all the administrative things so that people that were actually trained on the border will actually be able to go do an apprehension.
Good thought.
As opposed to, I think there's a lot more validity to this.
The same thing will happen with the military. I think the military won't be directly making arrests at the border, but they'll be driving the Humvees and whatever else you need to do backup to free up more of these resources.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Jason Chaffetz, would you tell us, I don't understand, 17 inspector generals at federal agencies have been released from their positions, shall we say. This has caused an uproar. I really don't know much about it one way or another. You were the oversight chair. Yeah. I hope you do better on this than you did on the 225 alphabet agencies.
Yeah, I got an issue there.
That you fostered. But let me just say.
That I fostered.
Let me just say, can Trump get rid of these IGs?
Oh, he should absolutely. Now, not everybody across the board. You know, there's some good ones and there's some bad ones. I think he got rid of the ones that he should have. There are 72 inspectors general. The president can appoint 36 of them. They can stay there in perpetuity. They're good ones, like Michael Horowitz of the Department of Justice. You look at the report he did on Comey and others. Those are good. These are your internal auditors, and you got to be really careful on who you get rid of.
He didn't do the 30-day warning, so this isn't going to stand. So I don't know how enjoyable he found it to fire them the first time, but he's going to have to fire them again. Well, 30-day notice.
You have to have a 30-day notice.
It's just what he wants to do.
Yeah, exactly. Fire him multiple
times.
times.
And if he has to, fire him a third time. Rich Lowry, Jason Chaffetz, thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate
it.
Thanks.